This channel is appearing at the top of our home feed, and I haven't even watched one of their videos. Hey folks, I'm Rob, welcome back to vidIQ, and let me paint a perfect scenario for your YouTube channel. What if you could reach your regular audience with more content on a far more consistent basis, maybe even multiple times a day, as well as touching a massive brand new audience, which could become valuable members of your community, and it only takes 2 or 3 minutes of your time. Yes, we're talking about the community tab, but don't stop this video because I want to show you something phenomenal. Recently, during one of our Q&A live streams, which are every Wednesday if you want to join us, by the way, the Chess Geek asked us about how important using the community tab is. And of course, we said it's very important. And the conversation ended up with us looking at his community tab every single day. I actually did bring up, I think, Chess Geek's community tab here. And it looks as if you're using it on a regular basis already, which is fantastic. And Dan, he's following the same tactic as you of having, who your favorite chess streamers, but then also other comment below to add even more engagement, which I think, I've just voted on other. So
now you got a comment.
Yeah, who do I, I'd put Kasparov, but I don't know how to spell his name. So I'm going to put Deep Blue. That was the computer chess machine, wasn't it, from a while ago. Anyway, there you are. You've got a comment from it as well. So no doubt what's going to happen is that we're going to get loads of chess community posts from you over the next week now on our feed. Now, of course, I said all of that a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Well, have a guess what happened less than 24 hours later. The morning following that live stream, this was my home feed on the YouTube mobile app. An advert at the top as always, breaking news, a story shelf, a couple of videos, the short shelf, and then boom. A community post from Chess Geek from 2 hours ago. And look at how much real estate this image is taking up on my screen. Think of the potential impact this has on a YouTube user. That is pretty cool, right? And remember this channel is appearing at the top of our home feed, and I haven't even watched one of their videos. Presumably, because I engaged with a voting poll from that channel, which probably took the creator 2 minutes to create, now YouTube thinks I have an interest in chess, at least for the next couple of days. And this wasn't just a one-off fluke. Over the next few days, I did see multiple community posts from Chess Geek, although admittedly, I did need to scroll down quite a bit in my feed to find more. What is also interesting is that I haven't yet seen a video from this channel, only community posts. Now, regular viewers here at vidIQ will know that I try to avoid the conversation of how to beat the algorithm because I encourage you to focus on building an audience. But this community tab does bring in an interesting curveball. It appears as if, at least at a very superficial level, there is an independent YouTube community post algorithm at play. And if a YouTube user engages with that, then they're just as likely to see more community posts as they are videos from channels. And we all know what takes a lot longer to create. So I'm not going to stand here and claim that more community posts leads to directly more views. But what I will suggest is that the community tab does lead to a lot more exposure for your channel as a whole, which could indirectly lead to more views. Let me give you a recent example of what I mean. We recently made a video about YouTube potentially hiding or removing dislikes, in which we told you all to dislike the video. I didn't realize people would actually do that. But anyway, so far the video has a respectable 16,000 views. Now then, in the community tab, I reposted YouTube's tweet on the topic and asked for reaction. That generated around 3,000 engagements in likes and comments. However, even more impressive was the voting poll, which brought in the same number of engagements, but on top of this, 23,000 votes. All of this from one sentence and 2 emojis. Now, I'm the first to admit that this is not an apples to apples comparison, but let's have some fun with this. We can see all of the impressions and click-through data from YouTube on the video we made on the topic. But what if we try to do the same thing for the community post? Let's convert those views into votes and turn the click-through rate into vote-through rate and calculate what the impressions count could be. Now again, let me stress these are somewhat made up numbers, but they are extrapolated from fact.
I have no doubt that at least 100,000 YouTube users are seeing this voting poll, and I know that at least 20,000 have engaged with it. The simple truth is, the YouTube homepage that hundreds of millions of users open up every single day is turning into a social media feed. And with that being said, it is so much easier for a YouTube user to engage with a community post, be it through a vote or responding to a question, than committing to several minutes, if not more, of a video. Does that mean then that the community tab is potentially overpowered? Yeah, it probably means it is. But if you have 1,000 subscribers, you have every right to use it, and you should. What I will say is that the community tab is not a one-hit fix. You have to, somewhat ironically, cultivate a community within your community tab. Try to get into a pattern of posting at least once a day. Do something fun, something intriguing, get them to engage with your content. Don't just try to push them to your video content, because essentially you're asking them to watch a video, which is what YouTube does with recommendations anyway. As with pretty much everything on YouTube, provide value. Now then, as for the spiffing Brit and his weird and wonderful adventures into the community tab, what I'm simply going to do is point you in the direction of that video, which is over here, but also offer you an alternative viewpoint from Little Monster Media, which is down there. All I'm suggesting to you is you start using that community tab if you have 1,000 subscribers. Enjoy the rest of your video making day.